She's with some residents impacted by addiction every day. Joy?
Michelle, as you mentioned, everyone sitting here around the table with me today, they each play a key role in addressing heroin addiction here in Carroll County. To my left, I have Tim Weber. He is a recovering addict. He's also one of the founding members of the Triangle Recovery Club, where we are today. And he's also a liaison with the Carroll County State's Attorney's Office. To his left, we have Brittany Sabach, who is currently recovering. She also goes around to a lot of area high schools and speaks with high schoolers about her recovery. We also have Kathy Baker, an RN, and the Assistant Bureau Director or the Assistant Director for the Bureau of Prevention, Wellness, and Recovery here in Carroll County. And then finally, we have Beth Schmidt, who lost her 23-year-old son to an overdose. All of you, thank you so much for joining us today. Tim, I want to start with you. Talk with me a little bit about the club where we're sitting right now and its role in the community.
Well, the club kind of came, it was an idea that a few people in recovery, actually Brittany is one of the founding members as well, we needed a place to have 12-step meetings. And so this is a place that there's 12-step recovery meetings. They go on from 7 in the morning all the way up till on the weekends, sometimes at 10 o'clock at night. It's just a place that people can come and get recovery and hopefully get their lives back in order. It's just a safe place for people to come.
Brittany, and that's important in the recovery process, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You know, when we started this, we were on the other side. It was small, it's grown, and it's really a lot of younger people in recovery that come here and are starting to see the other side of addiction from an earlier age, and you know, see that there is another way to live, and you don't have to wait, you know, 40 years from now to do it.
Talk to me a little bit. We were talking briefly before we all sat down about the message you want to send to the high schoolers when you speak, what you hope they walk away with through you sharing your story. What is it?
That is that for me, it happened innocently. You know, I started at 17, a senior in high school, drinking and smoking pot, and it wasn't progressive from there. I got into harder things. I never thought I was going to be a heroin addict in Baltimore City. And it doesn't happen to everyone, you know, but it's just prevention, you know, so that hopefully, you know, it saves one kid from going down the path I did.
Right. Kathy, talk about some of the resources that are available for people when they decide to take that first step.
So we have a wide variety of treatment services available in the county, one of those being outpatient treatment, traditional outpatient level 1 and level 2 treatment services. We also have a regional inpatient treatment facility that offers detox services and residential stay up to 28 days. We also have a housing and case management program that's a longer-term program that's on the grounds of Springfield Hospital, which is a 6 to 9 month housing case management where the clients also get outpatient treatment.
So there are a lot of resources out there for people, but we were also mentioning that oftentimes, how do you know when to take that first step, and who is there to help you? And that's really what you're wanting to get out, what you've been working so hard to do, right, Beth?
We're just trying to reach the families, the people in active addiction, and give them a place to come to, a place where they're not going to be judged, someone to reach out to. They can reach out to the health department, myself, Tim, Brittany. We're just desperately trying to break that stigma and get people to come out and talk about it and say, you know, I need help, and help me make that first step.
Did you know your son was addicted to heroin?
I did not until he told me. I mean, I saw some of the signs, and that's one of the things that I try to tell parents now. The signs that I saw could be explained away, but when you add them all together, then you actually realize, you know, this is what's going on. So
what are some of those signs?
You know, angry. I tell parents all the time, you know, your teenagers are angry, but when they get angry, very, very angry over any type of, if they want money from you, it's just the anger is above.
Mm-hmm.
They start to not take care of themselves, you know, if they're sleeping on odd hours, and then just certain things that are missing or being used around the house that shouldn't be used for those, you know, they're just not in the right place at the right time.
Looking back, you see the signs, but I imagine that when you were going through the process, they didn't all add up necessarily.
No, they didn't add up, and that's what I try to tell parents now. Hindsight is 20/20. Every single sign can be explained away by normal teenage behavior or young adult behavior. But if you add 3, 4, 5 of those signs together, then you're going to notice, there's something here. And call your child out. It's a difference between life and death. We don't need to worry about making them angry or upsetting them. If you're wrong, then you're wrong. That's great. But if you're not, then you're giving them a safe haven. You need to open up that conversation so that they can say, I need help.
All right, thank you. Michelle, so that's a little bit of what we're talking about here in Carroll County. I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you, Joy. Joy Lapola giving. Let's head back to Joy Lapola in Westminster, Maryland. And Joy, we just heard from a young man who talked about feeling normal when he was on heroin and feeling like he fit in. What are some of the programs that you're hearing about there in Westminster that are working?
Well, Kathy, the question that was asked is, what are some of the programs here in Carroll County that are working? And I know that you brought this out. These are a lot of the tools that you use that they have helped.
Yes. The Vivitrol is a medication that's is given to the client every 30 days. It stays on board and it helps to block the receptor, the opiate receptor, which decreases the cravings. And the same with the Suboxone. The other thing that we're really pushing is our Narcan training. We have a couple community providers, Tim being one and Beth being another one, that provide naloxone training in the community. And then we at the health department offer monthly naloxone training. And anybody that's interested can give us a call and sign up for any of the trainings. So.
All right. And Tim, we were talking about Narcan a little bit and what some of the arguments that have been presented regarding it, saying that it's not really addressing the problem. But in your case, you had Narcan use.
Yes, when I was in active addiction, toward the end there, I overdosed numerous times, 4 times to be exact. And Narcan actually saved my life and put me in a position to be able to seek recovery, get into recovery. And now, as a result of that saving my life, November 8th, next month, I'll have 13 years off of all drugs and alcohol. And that's why I'm a big advocate to getting that message out, to be a naloxone trainer and to take care of educating people on it. Because a lot of people need to have this in their house, not just for street drug addicts.
Brittany, we were talking as well about recovery and if it is a daily struggle for you. Is it?
Absolutely not. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions among people recovering. I don't struggle with this every day. If I did, I would be, in Baltimore City getting high. I have to deal with this for the rest of my life and do things on a daily basis to keep that desire away. But right now, what I do every day, I have no desire to use, which still baffles me. But getting into recovery, I did worry about that. At 23, I came in and I thought my life was over. And I have fun, and I have, people that care about me, and it's far from a struggle. I don't like that word.
And Tim, you were talking about recently breaking your collarbone. And this was a challenge that you faced in going to see a doctor and being a recovering heroin addict. Were there concerns, and how did that go?
So in my years of sobriety now, I've had incidents where I've had to have surgical procedures and different things, and I just am very upfront and let the doctor know I'm a person in long-term recovery. I had a heroin opiate addiction, and most of the doctors are on board with that. The last time in April of this year, I broke my collarbone and went in, and the doctor was on board with giving me ibuprofen. So just the doctors and people in recovery need to be educated to know that when they get there, they have to let the doctor know. And even if they tell someone like me we can take it once,
right.
I know from my own experience I can't take it once, because once will turn into possibly being on the street again and doing the stuff I used to do.
Right. Beth, I just want to get to you quickly. In your son's case, it was fentanyl.
Yes, in my son's case, it was fentanyl. He was the first case in Carroll County that was 100% pure fentanyl. It had just kind of hit the streets in Pennsylvania right before we lost him. We really hadn't seen it down here, and unfortunately, he was the victim of a drug dealer trying to make a name for himself.
And the message you want to send out to parents regarding your experience?
I've been where you are, and I want to help you through where you are. And if my son's life can save your son's life or your daughter's life, then call me. I don't have a problem. I'm very open with absolutely everything, and recovery is possible, and my son could have gotten there. And Michelle, that's what I've heard repeatedly today from all of the people sitting at this table, and that is there is help. There are people who are willing to, show you the process that you need to go through, or a loved one to get the help they may need.
Joy,
Michelle?
thank you so much for that. Yes, your heart breaks when you hear stories from mothers like we just heard from Beth. They are talking about her son and what could have been had he had.
Or what your brain is doing.
So with what we saw, the development with Cigna, that eliminates the gap, but that's just New York.
And just one company. Look, sometimes I think we forget, life is precious. We're talking about lives. And it's not, and you're talking about, you have no idea. Listen, that man sitting there, 4 times he would have died, but somebody had some life-saving medicine, gave it to him. You go, after 3 times, this guy's just going to be a junkie forever. After the 4th time, now he's helping people. He's doing stuff. So you can't just sit up here and have all these stereotypes in your mind. Oh, they're junkies. We're not going to help them. You don't know who that person's going to be. And so that's why it's so important for us to focus on this. This is the easiest problem in America to solve with so many lives at stake.